Hi everybody. Today I will show you several so-called open source platforms for launching and running your online businesses. This is distinctive from paid solution in many ways because here typically what you do is you download this software, this so-called CMS, content management software, onto your server, where then you continue to install it, set it up, and um, develop before it will start to be up and running, truly available for visitors. There's quite a few other things to do, like um, uploading your theme, translating, and fitting it with modules, right, to make it fully functional. So the whole process of setting up this open source software is quite involved and requires quite a few skills, unless you are already a developer working on web applications, or you are an say network administrator. So you typically, as a beginner entrepreneur, you would simply pay quite a lot of money to set all this up. So although it's those solutions such as Prestashop, OpenCart, Magento, and WordPress, which we will focus on, are free. mm, they're only free to download. Then you are on your own to make use of it. And again, if you are not skillful, not technically savvy, it's not even about being technically savvy, but being really skillful in this specific web application and administration type of, mm, say, computer skills, right? So then you would, not having them, you would pay quite a lot to have it all set up. Um, but still, it is. Uh, I mean, now you would ask, okay, so if this is um, not free, costs a lot, what are the benefits of having those open source softwares, right? If there is so much time, money, and effort involved to set it all up. So what is standing out with such solutions is flexibility. Unlike solutions like Wix or Shopify and many other that grew over the years, you have complete freedom to do what you want, to shape this service of yours to really what you want it to be. There's completely no limitations in your, say, imagination. But still, there are problems, some limitations, say, imposed by the structure of the software and availability of modules and themes and possible conflicts between them. But overall, it's much, much more flexibility and freedom to shape it as you would like it to have. Um, so this is one point. Um, as we go on, we will get into some of those difficulties and troubles. Now let's get just bird's eye view, where we compare and contrast those four, and in particular two, namely Prestashop and WordPress, as the most uh, often chosen by beginners. And we will say also why is that the case. So now bird's eye view on the platforms, open source, CMS, online business platforms, right? Prestashop, I'm running Prestashop, my business, my first business. That it's a family business that I'm still running for almost 15 years now. Has been from the beginning on Prestashop with s- m- little interlude, little start when I have no idea what I was doing with trying this platform, this OpenCart one, right? Without consultation with anybody, with no people who develop online businesses. I just started to search through all those open source solutions, and believe me, there are even more than those four I will be presenting. Uh, I've chosen myself OpenCart before Prestashop. Why it was back then, 15 years ago, I can't tell you, I don't remember, but it was just, it seemed to be just the easiest, probably. Or yeah, for some reason I've just chosen this one. But it turned out that this, as a few others, similar alternatives, less known, that what those three major one I will tell you about, much less frequently chosen and with less support from developers and companies that use those solutions to build online businesses for startups and beginner entrepreneurs. So they have much less support, right? And that was, I quickly realized that I started to build myself my first online business on this, right? So I installed this. I've um, I've started to just create my brand on this, right? So it was quite already developed, right? But I just scraped this off because I realized that there is so much work to do still, even after this installation, having this online and whatnot. I realized that there is theme, there are modules, there are translations, there are setting all details, sometimes even individual pages up that would take a lot of time and effort. So realizing that there is so much more work to do, yet after having this already up and running, I just scraped it off completely, right? And outsourced it. And it turned out that, again, at this stage, I realized that this is not supported well platform, this open source solution, like a few others that I was considering. And it turned out that this Prestashop has been mm, just almost with no exception um, supported, right, by those companies that's where you can outsource mm, setting your business, your online presence out, right? So I was considering also Magento. Magento is mm, great solution for really huge enterprises where you have a lot of products, mm, where you just need and you predict because as a beginner you don't um, you just don't have this type of insight into your future, what you will really need. But and actually, this is a reason why you shouldn't even consider Magento. But just to let you know, Magento is great for huge enterprises with, say, millions and millions of products, right? Because at some point, all those CMS platforms, and among those, all those we've been talking about so far, will hit some limits in terms of scaling them up, making them house more and more products. Theoretically, there is no limit uh, to any of them, but the amount of work and customization and programming and coding involved into scaling those platforms up will be smaller for Magento than those others. All right. This scalability is just well built into this software of Magento. All right. But as a beginner, entrepreneur, you just won't see the difference. You are unlikely to have millions of products, and the differences start to be seen as at the level of hundreds of products, hundreds of thousands of products, right? Hundreds of thousands of products. Okay, so and this ties back to what I've said earlier. As a beginner, you don't know where you end up, and therefore you shouldn't consider Magento, especially that setting it up is more difficult, and hosting it is also typically more costly. All right. All right. So now let me see the fourth. Let's go to the fourth solution, the WordPress. It's again open source software while being again with the same mindset in mind as Magento and OpenCart and Prestashop. It is more versatile. All right, it is more versatile. Not only that, from my experience, I've been using it for a couple of years now. It's it seems to be more offhand than Prestashop, meaning you can set it in app in such a way that it will be updating itself, right? Auto updating itself uh, um, completely on autopilot. And it's important to have updates. It's actually critical. Like with your computer, you have to have updates for all your modules, themes, and the entire platform regularly, because without that, you're putting yourself into a cyber security risks, and those, believe me, are very destructive, can destroy your entire business. Let me repeat, cybersecurity risks for your online business can destroy your entire business. So the cybersecurity things, in particular, this updatability, offhandedness, and autopilot updates in particular and upgrades should be from the beginning at the center of your attention while choosing the platforms. All right? It is that important. I will give you only one example from my own experience. Why is it the cybersecurity thing so important? Um, I have been attacked a few years ago. My entire platform, due to difficulties mm, with compatible, say, inner compatibilities between theme and modules. And this allowed me mm, completely prevent me from upgrading the whole system. And it took only 2 years with this outdated software to make it so vulnerable and so easy to attack that it has been almost completely mm, got into control with probably maybe not full but partial code execution of some cyber criminals. All right. Um, so at the level of having your system being code executed, where you know cyber criminals can execute their code on your software, it's like getting your computer completely out of your control and handing it in to the criminals. And here are my passwords. Here are my um, my software, my online business. Do what you want with it. All right. Would you like to be in such a position? I think you would not. All right. So keep it in mind. Um, this is just updates are critical. Upgrades are critical. From the very beginning, keep it in mind. And even if you to lose some functionalities, uh, those upgrades and updates, you have to have this on autopilot. And mm, even with this, there are some problems, right? Because mm, auto updates might create some incompatibilities still, right? Because this software is quite complex. It consists of many parts, and sometimes they just do not fit well, and that simply might cause a crash. But this just very easy way, a workaround. You just have also your backups on autopilot, right? And you just visit your service every day, and you know if there was a crash or there wasn't, what works, what doesn't. And you also have you even doesn't have to visit your service each day, because there are services that just check availability, for example, of your entire website, right, and inform you instantaneously if there is something wrong. And then on should there be such a case, I have never have such. Um, you just quickly restore a backup, and this is a matter of this is pretty much as easy as with a computer backup, or easier, right? With restoration of a backup, right, of a computer, even easier. All right, so um, what are the perks of the WordPress from my experience compared to Magento, OpenCart, and Prestashop? WordPress is as easy to use as Prestashop, and but it's versatile, much more versatile, and mm, availability of themes and modules is pretty much the same. Scalability is very similar. Mm, Recall this, right? This limit of products mm, where you start to see some need for say hardware scalability and software scalability, which is very costly. This limit is again similar to Prestashop. This is a couple of hundreds of thousands of products. And I mean, there are earlier limits, like at the couple of thousands, but or couple of tens of thousands, but those are quite easily um, overcome. But anyway, to sum up, the difference is WordPress stands out in versatility, easiness of use, and um, this auto updates, right? Those would be the three critical things I would pick up as the most important. Now let's expand on the versatility thing. Or before we go on to the versatility and flexibility of the software, let me show you something about those updates. I have something here to update. So normally you would in those softwares, those CMS platforms, you would have to go to a tab that is for updates, right? And you would have to do it manually. So you would do the following. You would first you would upgrade the theme, the software, the very platform, right? In this case, WordPress, right? And do I have to, by the way, no, I have current version, as you see, of WordPress, but then we have to update the theme, right? And this is quite fast. I mean, I have fast also hosting. Um, so yeah, and then you would have to do this. Also, notice that it is all manual, right? I would have to update plugins, right? It takes time and it's not fun, right? And again, there's always this problem of cybersecurity. Those things actually should be done every day, all right? Or whenever even there is a release of new version. From the cybersecurity standpoint, it's just how it should be done, yeah? So having those updates, auto updates is important, and you can easily enable it in WordPress, and there are, as I said, modules for backups, right, as well. Or you can do those backups on the level of hosting. It's also simple, sometimes even simpler than doing backups on the level of your CMS. And this is just a few clicks and you are back online. Should there be a problem of compatibility, right? All right, but now let's dive into the versatility of WordPress. So unlike Prestashop, mm, WordPress from the start was designed for something like publication of visual and context content. So specifically blogs, some newsletters, newspapers, right? Things like this. But this is one of the longest existing platforms, and it developed tremendously over the years. Now it's again one of the most popular of those CMS platforms, right? And um, and there's not just blog or not just newspapers and the like. There is plenty of things you can do with this. There's, for example, such amazing functionality you can add to it, like Lifter LMS. And with it, you can create entire university if you want. Seriously, it is that powerful. So you can host your courses, memberships, and gamify this education of yours. With those courses and memberships, there might be other forms of you doing your expert business. For example, there might be your coaching, there might be your group and individual coaching, right? Anything you can only imagine related to education, you can create with this Lifter LMS. It's so versatile software that even in the name, I don't remember the name, but it's very uh, telling that this versatility is within already this module, right? And again, this is just not your typical CMS module. This is like, whoa, this is a whole dimension added to your WordPress, right? And I actually for me it is critical for building expert business, right? And to me, this is one of the best ways, if not the best ways of just creating your expert business, right? Now, versatility point 3. This is not just blog, right, or newspaper, right? This is not number 2, a university. Not only that, surprisingly, it is also a powerful e-commerce functionality. So this third dimension you can add to this software is e-commerce, similarly to Prestashop. Because Prestashop from the very beginning up to this day is all about e-commerce. And by e-commerce, I mean just focusing on selling physical or digital products online, right? Only selling products. So all you see here, here you have a lot of functionalities, right? I have even a powerful blog here. And by the way, in fact, you can in those softwares, in those open source CMS software, you can even if it is all even if this is you can create blogs and similar things, right? Um, like with what typically is related to WordPress. But it comes at the cost. First, it is not native to those platforms. Again, this Magento, OpenCart, and Prestashop, they are all like this. They are all devoted to selling e-commerce stuff, right? So adding such a functionality like powerful blog, right? And as you see, I've put quite a lot of energy, not only in terms of intellectual property, right? But in terms of programmatic and um, software development of this, because this is not quite natural to create such complex blog in this software. I mean, um, there are modules, um, say blog modules for those softwares that whose installation is quite simple, and and it will be like often like installation of any other module for those open source platforms. But as often it is the case with also other modules, there might be some incompatibilities and the need for customization. And that means introducing incompatibilities into your software and not having not having this ability to upgrade and update your software. And again, this is critical, right? Recall my story of cybersecurity. And yeah, so keep it in mind. You can, yes, have a blog, and this is quite rare to have such complex and well-looking blog in e-commerce site, right? It's difficult to find a good module that will create blog like this in e-commerce site. Okay, this is one distinction you should have in mind. And the second is that the second is SEO. What is SEO? Search engine optimization. In short, it's keywords and description and meta description and structure of the content you have on your website, right? So this is in important for your visibility in search engines such as Google, Bing, etc. So in other words, if you want to be visible online without having to pay for this visibility, like on Google Ads or Bing Ads or whatever, Facebook ads, right? You have to have a good SEO on your website. And WordPress is quite natural in this respect and well developed. And there are also free modules for it, right? I mean, not sure if they are free. Uh, there's probably one free at but I'm not completely sure because again I have some free modules, quite powerful ones, where I have uh, my WordPress hosted. But yeah, as far as I remember, there are at least one SEO module is free. Uh, you have this with your WordPress, right? With your WordPress or with one click, right? Uh, Available because and same with say such a firewall security module that you don't have free in Prestashop. You don't have SEO or security modules in Prestashop. I have had to pay for them, right? And quite a bit so. And like with modules, typically with in those open source platforms, you have to, it's not just one-off payment. No, no, well, there is mm, a need, and sometimes there is a need to update it after years. You have to pay for this, you know. All right, so mm, where you would what would you like to see it? I guess you would like to see it. mm, yeah. So I wouldn't say there's anything critical here to see for you. Uh, yeah. All right. So to sum up, commonalities and differences. Commonalities between those CMS software platforms are the following. There are platforms, open source software to download and install it on your hosting provider. Then there are libraries of themes also to download, typically paid. Um, right, the theme is like this thing you see, right? This brand of mine has has some unique taste to it, right? Like, right, there's a lot of elements on it. This is all of this you see here. This menu, this images, this video, this elements here. All of this is a theme, right? This is not mm, provided by this open source downloadable thing, right? We've just mentioned. This is a separate thing. This is this theme, right? You download, and actually, this only resembles the theme because the main part of this page is. I should mention one important thing you should keep in mind while choosing uh, this open source platform. It is so-called elementals. You should have this module available on your open source platform. Creative Elements, also known as Elementor, or there's still another name as far as I remember. Anyway, this is important because this gives you enormous flexibility in creating your own pages on your website. You, without knowledge, skills, anything in coding, in programming, you just will be able by dragging and dropping to create a website, a web page. And this web page you see, right? It is just myself creating it. You know, a couple of years ago, I've just created it, right? That's all, right? We frequently ask questions. There are just modules to add to your page. And again, you don't need any programming skills with these creative elements. It's powerful, versatile. It has all elements you need for creating a powerful web page. All right. As you see, it's quite complex. There are videos, there are those frequently asked questions, those rolling elements, right? Some fancy buttons, animated and whatnot. And this is, by the way, from blog module. This is the end of this creative elements page. And there are some interactive elements, right? So this is quite complex page, and you have all those elements in creative elements. This is important to have because you quickly will want to have some originality to your website, or simply just flexibility to do something on your web pages. So yeah, this is just, say, the fourth thing in say, importance I would mention to you to remember while choosing this open source CMS software. So anyway, back to the commonalities. The commonalities are that number one, you download it for free. Number two, you install it. Number three, you typically pay for the theme and modules you need to have for the full functionality of this open source software, right? And to go finally online and be visited by the visitors, by online visitors, or for example, a person who accidentally found you on the Google, right? In Google search results. Now, the contrast and what is different between those CMS platforms. Magento stands out in terms of scalability, but this is not what you should even consider at the beginning. You just cannot reasonably predict, right, what will happen to your business, with your business, how you will develop it in say a decade, right, or 5 years. So don't even think about this. There's still huge scalability, theoretically unlimited scalability, even with WordPress and Prestashop. And the Magento for beginners is more difficult and more resource heavy, right? In terms of hardware or what you have to pay for the hardware. Strictly speaking, software on your hosting. So then you are left with Prestashop and WordPress that have good support, and I wouldn't go for Prestashop. I would go for WordPress because they do have speeds comparable, right? Similarly, by the way, to Magento, and because they have the support, you would like me, you would go for one of those, but the contrast between them is that WordPress just have more flexibility, and potentially it will be also cheaper, right? So yeah, at this stage, I would go simply for WordPress if I would begin. All right, hopefully that would be all you should know. And in terms of critical things you should remember about is this, again, cybersecurity, for which the most important thing is auto updates and auto upgrades. And as a important um, add-on to your open source platform, this Elementor creator, those creative elements are also important to have. If there would be one single module you would like to have, that would be this one. All right, but at the beginning you don't you shouldn't consider any modules. Right? At the beginning you should start with your theme, which also have quite a few functionalities. They differ in functionalities, remember. So they might have all the functionalities you need, so that you will not have to do anything. And by the way, the less you will have to do, the better, for many reasons, but most importantly from this compatibility standpoint. All right, hopefully that will give you some idea. If you have still some problems, some questions, some because you still can be perplexed. What all this mean for my specific situation, right? For my specific project. There might still be some questions, some open questions, or even some inaccuracies that in my talk that don't quite fit your situation. So in such a case, I suggest just contact me. Simply go to my website. There is a link always under my videos. Just go there, schedule a consultation. Schedule a consultation. By the way, as beginners, and I was the same, we often think that we can do everything ourselves. But when we are sick, do we heal ourselves? No, if we need really help, we go to a doctor, right? If we want to have a house paint, well, we can paint it, but if this is something really complex, like building a house, right? Good luck with that, right? It will take you years to figure out how to build a house, right? So take advantage of just my experience and schedule a consultation. This might cost you a bit, right? But think about the years of futile work that you can um, take on as a project wrong-headed, right? Because you will not have this expertise behind you, and you will not get answers to your questions. Don't get help at the stage where you need to have them, right? To give you an example, I still pay and dearly so for mistakes that I've made at the beginning of my entrepreneurship. those are mm, related to e-commerce, to my e-commerce um, side of business, where we made a horrendous mistake to pay for containers of products that haven't been well tested by us in terms of market fit and their saleability, right? And although they started to sell well at some point, we've run out of time in terms of validity of this product on on from the legal standpoint, right? Because there is a problem of EEC approval for many products, this type including, and if you won't sell at some products at before this type of legal problems, you are left with a warehouse of products that overnight lost like half of their value or more. And in effect, you are left out of business. So there are such problems. We've only touched here on, by the way, on one aspect of the business, right? On very one single aspect of the business, the your online presence, and not even part of that, right? Because apart from those technicalities, there are marketing problems. There's the problem of your brand, and list go on and on. And the legal problems, hey, those are things that you will not even be able to grasp as a beginner. You just need somebody who is well ahead of you, well ahead of you, who just understand your situation, right? Who just can see through in an instance what lies ahead of you, which you cannot, which you cannot. All right. Hopefully that's landed. And yeah, again, don't be, just to sum it up, don't be so stupid as I was at the beginning. I thought I was smart enough to figure this all out on myself, on my own. And no, even if you have like 24 hours a day and years, all time of the world on your hands, and you are super smart, well smarter than me, you just won't be able to figure this out. Though these problems which I've just mentioned, right? So really, if you have a need, you feel that you are overwhelmed and just um, in the forest of possibilities that you cannot grasp, just reach out for help. All right, that is important. Remember, with that, I will leave you and yeah, and think about your best CMS software platform now. All right. Cheers. Bye.